One really, really important thing you've got to really pay attention to. You're thinking about buying, or actually, even if you're selling in Florida, okay, if you're planning on moving to the state of Florida, or if you're selling a home in the state of Florida, we need to talk about the difference between the as is and the standard contracts. This is not public knowledge. A lot of people know this, but a lot of people really don't know it. If you haven't sold something recently, or if you only dealt with one contract, you don't know that there's another version. So when you're buying and selling, you really need to pay attention to this. I want to talk about the differences between the as is and what we call the standard or non-as is contract. And the as is contract, believe it or not, counterintuitive, the as is contract is a potential big loophole for buyers. So on the surface, you hear as is, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to buy something as is. But what the as is contract does is it allows you to inspect as a buyer. You can inspect the home. You can get out of the contract and legally get your escrow money back as long as you do your inspections and there is a valid reason for you to jump out of the contract. You can get out of the contract within the particular negotiated time period. Now, with the standard, you don't have that. You do have an inspection time period. You have the right to inspect, and it's a little bit more in favor of the seller, except it doesn't seem like it would be, but it is in favor of the seller because in the standard contract, the seller has the first right to say whether they are going to repair, replace, fix, or not. And if they don't, then the buyer can opt to stay in or get out of the contract. And I'm bringing this up because there's been a lot of discussion lately because there's been most of the deals when they fall apart, if they were to fall apart, they fall apart because of the inspection period, because of the inspections, and it's not being done correctly, and it's not being done by, it's being done by a handyman, and it's not being done by a certified plumber or licensed plumber or certified electrician, that type of thing. And those types of things usually get in the way. And then you have to, this listing agent and the seller have to accumulate receipts once they accomplish the repair and the replacement. So it is very cumbersome. So think about this when you're buying. You may want to consider an as-is contract because it does give you the right to inspect. And also, didn't mention this before, you do have the right to ask for repairs. Doesn't mean you can't ask the seller for repairs. If you have questions about this, I'm Glenn Stein, broker, Realty Executives in the Villages, 352-572-3796.